Western Canada is full of strong and resilient people. Joining me now for 100 Huntley Street on the Road in Alberta is Marlene Melnychuk. Welcome to 100 Huntley Street, Marlene.
Hi. I'm so glad that I could be here.
It's our honor to be speaking with you today. Marlene, you are an inspiration to so many people. You've written a beautiful book that tells the story of your life. And we have many of your family members gathered around right now, those who care for you as well. Marlene, you've had an incredible life's journey. And when you were 2 years old, you faced a significant challenge that nobody expected. You grew up in a Ukrainian family full of faith. You were a boisterous young toddler. But as you neared 2 years old, everything changed. What happened?
When I was 2 years old, we were living by an acreage, and my dad built a house, and there was a lot of animals next door, and there was a dog. He would lick your face. He's a very compassionate dog, and he really loved kids. And when it was time to go home, and at night, he would come and lay down by my window all the time. And he wasn't feeling very well one time, and he was very docile. That evening, I wasn't feeling very well, and Mom and Dad came to me, and I wasn't. I had a very bad fever, so they took me to the hospital, and they gave me a shot of penicillin, and they said, "Oh, you can take her home. Take her home, and she'll be all right." So on the way home, I fell into a coma, and they rushed me back to the hospital, and they were monitoring me a lot for 3.5 weeks.
And your parents were so terrified during that period. I read in your autobiography they put you in an oxygen tent to make sure you had air, and it turns out that dog had a tick that was, airborne. It came to you, and it gave you something called encephalitis.
That's right.
Which is swelling in your brain, is that right?
Yeah, it was really bad swelling in the brain. In medical terminology, it was on the right side of the brain hits the left side of your body.
And during that time when you were in a coma, there were times the doctors didn't think you would survive, and your parents really relied on the power of prayer in that scary time.
It was a blessing to me, and God just really, really touched me in that time.
It's so much for a young child to go through, to be healthy and then get sick suddenly. The way you got ill, experience being in a coma, and then have to go through rehabilitation to relearn how to walk and talk. And yet you were such a miracle, and there were so many people praying for you. And you ended up entering grade school when you were 6 years old. What were some of the disabilities that were left over even after rehabilitation?
I had to learn how to dress myself, and I had to learn how to read better, and to read a book. It was kind of hard to just do my studies.
And I think you had a lot of success, as a lot of your teachers really noted how hard you tried and how hard you worked. And it's very inspiring. When you were 18, you made a decision to be baptized. What was that moment like for you as you gave your heart and your life to Jesus?
Oh, it was fantastic. I was just on a cloud nine. It was great. My parents were just really glad. They're the best parents ever, and my sister was too. But I can't say how much I love them.
Well, I know they love you so much. And in fact, so many of your family members are sitting around us right now, and our viewers can't see them. But you and I know they're here. Your dad is close by. You have a cousin close by. And just sitting in the room here with us, it's incredible to see the closeness of your family. Marlene, you've had such a challenging life at times, and also such an inspiring life for those of us who are blessed enough to encounter and know you. And I know you have a very close relationship with God. What difference has your relationship with Jesus made in your life?
When I have bad situations in my life, I pray, and I pray, and God just takes them, and he really understands about what I can deal with, and what happened, and he deals with what I can say to what is happening in my life, and he can show me what to do about what I can say or I can do.
And there's no doubt in my mind that God is directing your path despite all of these challenges that have happened in your life. One of the incredible things you ended up doing was going to vocational school and then going and working in the very rehabilitation place, the very place that you ended up having your rehabilitation done in. So you went there later in your life and you helped young kids who were going through similar difficulties that you went through at this rehabilitation center. Tell us a little bit more about that time in your life.
Well, I went there and I started there volunteering. When I got there, I volunteered in the kids department, and it was such a blessing. The kids were really, some of them were very, very handicapped, and I wanted to get them and get them smiling and get them a little bit out of what's happening to them. And I thought, God, help them to understand what they're dealing with in a joyful way. And this little girl that couldn't speak or couldn't move her body, she only could move her eyes, and she blinked for yes and blinked for no, and she was handling that very badly. And I thought, God, help me to get her joy and put joy in her. And I was joking around with her and trying to help her. After a little while, she was a little bit. She looks like she was a little bit happier, and I'm going, wow, God, thank you for helping me get her out of a situation that she might be in all the time.
Marlene, what's so amazing about that story to me as well is that, you went to the Glen Rose for rehabilitation when you were just a toddler. And now you went back and you were working with young children who were going through rehabilitation or struggling with disabilities and being such a bright light to them. And I think, that's something that you are for everyone who knows you. You are a bright light and you bring joy into the room. Some of the amazing things you've done, you've parasailed, you've done horseback riding, skiing, skating. You've traveled and seen more of the globe than I have, including Hawaii All these incredible places. You know, Marlene, behind all of this joy and this strength you have, what would you say is in your heart that gives you so much strength and so much joy in life?
I can ask God to just give me the strength to do what I would like to do. And a lot of people would say, you're not going to do that. You're really not going to do that. But I say, I am going to do that.
Marlene, your resilience and your strength of spirit is so inspiring. And I can't help but think of the person watching right now who might be feeling hopeless or broken down or limited by their situation or their circumstances. What would you say to that person right now who's struggling with hopelessness and feeling held down?
I would say trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean on under your own understanding in all your ways. Acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. If anybody is listening to this, I know in my heart that God understands everything that you can do, and if you're dealing with what you have, I would say just pray about it and understand that God is in your heart, and He will never leave you or forsake you, and He loves you.
We're so thankful that you've been with us today and had this wonderful conversation. And I'm so excited to hear about what's next for you and all your adventures. Do you have any plans coming up?
Well, I know my family says you can't do it, but I would love to go skydiving. Not by myself. I know that's not right, but with a tandem person.
Marlene, you've had so many dreams in life which have come to pass. Parasailing, learning art at university, going to many trips throughout the world. And one of your dreams was to be on 100 Huntley Street to share your story of what God has done in your life. Why has that mattered to you so much?
I dreamt about this since I started writing my book, and I watched 100 Huntley when David was doing it, and I thought, it would be nice to tell my story on 100 Huntley, and I was dreaming about it, and when I started writing my book, it really hit me, and I thought, it would be really nice to be on 100 Huntley Street to do this.
And we're so thankful that you've joined us on 100 Huntley Street today. It has been such an honor and a privilege to spend time with you and to hear the story of your life and what God has done in your life. Thank you for being with us today, Marlene.
And thank you for having me.